Hey everybody. For today's daily thought, we're looking at why God calls Israel. Exactly 3 months after the Israelites left the land of Egypt, they came to the wilderness of Sinai. They traveled from Rephidim, came to the Sinai wilderness, and set up camp there. Israel camped there in front of the mountain while Moses went up to God. Yahweh called to him from the mountain, "This is what you should say to the house of Jacob and declare to the Israelites. You saw what I did to the Egyptians, and how I lifted you up on eagle's wings and brought you to me. So now, if you faithfully obey me and stay true to my covenant, you will be my most precious possession out of all the peoples. Indeed, the whole earth belongs to me, but you will be my kingdom of priests and a holy nation." These are the words you should say to the Israelites. So the question here is God playing favorites with Israel? Right? He even calls them my precious, So does God love them more? Does God care about them more? And how is that fair? Now, we've talked before about the significance in Exodus that God sides with the weak and the oppressed and not with the powerful. I think that's an important thing for us to remember about God's nature and who God is going to be focused on. And yet we have to see why God called them, right? God called Israel for a purpose, not just because he liked them, but as he says here, to be priests to the world, right? What a priest does is that they're kind of the go-between, the mediator between God and other people. And so just as there were individual priests for Israel, Israel is meant to do that role for the whole world, that they were the ones that would have a connection with God and then spread that to the people around them. To use some theological language, election is about vocation, not salvation. Right? When God chooses people, it's so they can do a job, not just so they can be saved. The salvation serves that purpose. It wasn't just to bless them, it's to bless everyone through them. And all of this is true for the church as well. God doesn't love us more than God loves everyone else. I mean, parents, do you only love the children that listen to every word of yours? If that's the case, you probably don't love any of them if your kids are like mine. God loves every child that God has given birth to, that God has created. And so our call is to show the world a way of life that gives life. We are saved so that we can let people know what life can really be. God didn't choose Israel and God didn't choose us because we're more special. God chooses us to remind the world who've forgotten that they are special. It's our job to pass that message on. Hopefully we don't forget it ourselves, but it's not about us. It's about God and it's about them.